Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more. Reaching out, or rather than even being his first port of call, he was on Struggle Street for the weekend and Monday and Tuesday, as obviously we've gone back into lockdown and there's some things going on in his life. So he had to sit there and sit with his own thoughts and feelings and emotions for the first time since working through some challenges that he's had going on. And now he's a high achiever, high performer, and very good at what he does for work.
You're listening to the Man That Can Project with Lachlan Stuart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to the Man That Can Project.
Welcome to the Man That Can Project podcast. I'm your host, Lachlan Stuart, and I am a men's performance coach. And today, which will be a Thursday for those of you who are tuning in, if you're listening to it on release day. Otherwise, it could be any other day ending in Y. If you're just scrolling through the podcast now or checking it out on YouTube. But if you are tuning in for the first time, please hit that subscribe button or follow button just so you get notified whenever new episodes pop up. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll notice that I'm in a different location. We are in Toowoomba, which is about 2 hours west of Brisbane, where Amy and I live. And we were fortunate. We came up, and literally the next day or the day after, we came up to Toowoomba. Brisbane went into lockdown, and it's still currently in lockdown. So we've just decided to hang out here for a while until either the lockdown in Brisbane pisses off and lifts, or the lockdown extends up to here, and then we'll head home. But we'll play it by ear at this stage, and so far it's been good. It's bloody freezing. You can see I've got technically gloves on and jumpers and stuff. It's I'm not climatized to this cold. That's for sure. Now, gents and ladies, whoever's tuning in today, I had a check-in call with a client, and along with running the Strong Men of Value program, some of the individuals within that program I work with one-on-one now. At any one time, I can only work with a certain number of blokes. And if you're listening and you want to help get your performance to that next level, it might be worthwhile looking into. I have 2 spaces available, and within that, we find out where you're at, what's holding you back, limiting beliefs, and we map out and gain clarity and direction around where you want to get to. And then we use various modalities and things to help you get there. Obviously, if you want to find out more, would have a consult call to find out if I'm a good fit for you and if I feel I can help you, and vice versa, if you feel you would actually get value from working with me. And then we can map the plan out from there. And if you feel it's a good fit, let's get cracking. Let's help you take your life to that next level. But anyway, I was touching base with the client as I do every week. I like to check in with my clients every Monday. I make them send me their intentions and goals for the week that should align with what we're working towards. And one of my clients I hadn't heard from, and today's Wednesday as I'm recording this, but it'll be Thursday by the time you listen to this. And as we were chatting, I gave him a call, and I've got notes here on my phone because as we were discussing, he's like, everything happens for a reason. You should do a podcast on this. And I was like, mate, I'm already 2 steps ahead of you. I'm taking notes about what we're talking about. So it was reciprocal, which is brilliant. But we were talking about knowing when to reach out. Now, this legend knew over the weekend, or he was going through some challenges over the weekend, and rather than reaching out, or rather than even being his first port of call, he was on Struggle Street for the weekend and Monday and Tuesday, as obviously we've gone back into lockdown and there's some things going on in his life. So he had to sit there and sit with his own thoughts and feelings and emotions for the first time since working through some challenges that he's had going on. And now he's a high achiever, high performer, and very good at what he does for work to really deal with that sort of stuff. And for me, I was like, mate, I'm your mate and I'm also your coach. And our goal is to help you become a better version of yourself. Our goal is to help you perform at a higher level. And in order to do that, when you go through moments like this, right, when life happens, that's when we really need to push that button to go, fuck, Lockie, let's get on the phone. We need to work through this, because it's easy, gentlemen, to jump on a phone with a coach or a mentor or seek help when things are going well. Often we don't want to, but if you're having to check in and tell me about your goals and the progress you're making, which is what most of the blokes are doing, because we're tracking things and we're working towards a goal and an outcome. So when that's looking good, when you can show up and beat your chest and go, fuck yeah, I've nailed it, it's very, very easy to do. But when it's going terrible, or when you're struggling, or you're not hitting your goals, or you've gone missing, that's when it's hard to show up. But that's when you need to show up, right? So how, I think as blokes, we've been accustomed to, we have adopted these beliefs that we need to suck it up and work through it ourselves. And while I agree that there's definitely a time and place for that, and it's obviously contextual and situational, for the individual, I want to break down for you guys, I guess, how to know when is probably a good time to reach out, and how to know when you could probably work through it and provide a growth experience for yourself, based off my experiences and what I would do in these scenarios. Because all of us are going to deal with challenges, adversity. That's life. And every time that happens, you can allow it to bury you, right? Which is probably not what you wanted to be doing. Or you can allow it to be a growth opportunity to take your performance to the next level, to have a real breakthrough, and allow the growth to propel you to another direction in your life, one that you want to be going on. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, there's stresses, there's emotions that we experience. There might be people say something that upsets us. We might get overlooked for a job promotion. We might have a disagreement in our relationship. And these things can cause stress. They can cause negative emotions. And within these negative emotions, we can try and work through them ourselves, or we may have coping strategies, some poor, some good. Some poor ones might be turning to alcohol or drugs, or some sort of a escapism mentality. Or you might have, as I mentioned, those good habits, like exercise, journaling, communicating properly, going for a run, okay, to help you get yourself right back in the right mind frame to process what's going on. And it can be a real growth opportunity for you when you do that, because you can often take a new perspective, reflect on things that you'd want to do differently. And every time you do that, you now have that experience. You now have that lived experience that should should something like that come up in the future, you're going to know how you've handled it, and you've either responded, right? Meaning you've responded to the stimuli in front of you and you've handled it well in a progressive, mature manner, or you've reacted, right? You've flipped the lid and you've just gone straight with the emotion, which might be kicking and screaming, having a tantrum, playing the victim mentality, right? And responding and reacting is something that is really important to understand as men, but that's not what this podcast is about. So obviously those certain emotions and stuff, if you feel, and this is how I would identify whether I need to ask for help or I can work through it myself. If it begins to affect my day-to-day life, so you look at it as like an acute is short-term, chronic is long-term. If it begins to affect my day-to-day life, my sleep, my moods for a sustained period of time, then that's when I would be going, righto, Lockie, there's still a fucking growth opportunity in this. But right now, you don't have the tools, or you're not in the right mental state or space to work through this. You need support. You need someone to provide perspective or tools or insights to help you gain that learning, right? Someone who maybe has done it before, okay, or someone who's going to be brutally honest with you, or tell you it how you need to hear it. And for me, that's when I go, right, because, I'm a fucking coach. I know a lot of tools, and I do a lot of this stuff on a daily basis. I have great tools and strategies that I can lean on when I'm dealing with challenges. But I still experience moments in my life where I'm like, this has gone way over my head, and I've been stressed out for much too long, or far too long. I need to call in the fucking cavalry. Where's my support systems? And for me personally, regardless of the fields, but I have coaches. I have a coach that does my programming for me for athletics. I have a life coach. I have a business coach. And the reason why a lot of them are there is for exactly that. There's things that I, get tasks set for me to level up and to grow in those areas. And my goal is to do that. But if it starts impacting me, if the stress gets too overwhelming, or if I'm not getting the progress, or if I'm getting injured, or whatever it is, I need to talk to them about it, because they're going to have a different perspective on it that I'm not seeing, that maybe my lived experiences and beliefs are causing me to miss. So in order for me to grow, and in order for me to then be able to use that experience and that growth, whether it's achieved by myself or whether it's achieved with a coach or with a mentor, next time something like that comes within my life or raises its head, I'm going to be able to then go, I've been here before. I know what this was next time. And this is the thing, guys. So once you've nailed it, the problems don't stop. This is what I say to most of my clients, and I check in with these clients about monthly, right? Because I want you to go out there and live your life. But I want you to know that I'm going to be there when you need me. And obviously, when we recap and refocus and set what we're working towards, within that, more often than not, there's some obstacles that have shown their head. But I'm also there, checking in with, checking in with clients weekly as well, because I want to find out what they're working towards. I want to hold them accountable, but more often than not, I want that communication gateway to be there for when things like that happen. So as I said to my client, I was like, you're only shooting yourself in the foot by not utilizing the tools that you've got in place. Right? You're paying me for a reason. You're paying me to help you and support you and empower you to take your life to that next level. But I can't know what you're thinking when I'm not there. I still can't really know what you're thinking unless you tell me what you're thinking, right? So this puts ownership back on us as individuals. My coaches don't know what I'm experiencing, the stress that I'm going through, the challenges that I'm having if I don't communicate it. And I know that with my coaches, I've got my weekly slot, which I want to maximize that time. So I go there with notes and questions and queries and problems and all that sort of stuff. And I want to work through that. I want perspective. I want action steps. I want to know how I can overcome it. What am I missing? But the other 4 weeks, essentially the other 29 days of the month, I'll still be texting them, because I want to continue to build that relationship. I want them to sort of understand how my moods and emotions go, how I'm, what's going on in my life, when business is going well, when my training's going well, and what's not. Because then the greater understanding they get around me as an individual, the more they're going to be able to give me real solid advice, but also the accountability that they're going to be able to give me when we're setting goals, when we're setting KPIs, when we're setting targets, is going to be more realistic, because they're going to understand how I am as a person. So I think for those, I think I've gone off on a tangent. I'll have to listen back and let you know. But obviously knowing when to reach out. All of us need fucking support. All of us need help. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that. I think it's fucking cool, because the whole point of getting help is to improve. The reason why we keep updating our phones every year is not because our phones are broken, unless you've got like a fucking, we're up to iPhone 12 now, unless you've got like an iPhone 5, it's probably broken. But most of our phones, the hardware is not broken. My phone's not broken. But every time a new model comes out, generally I'm going to update it because I want the improved. And even if it's a small little improvement, like the camera or something, I want it. So we need to think about that with ourselves as well. Whether you're looking in a business perspective, in a relationship perspective, a health, a lifestyle, a mindset, whatever it is, you can improve. And you're going to be looking to improve, because if you're not looking to improve, you're going to be regressing. That's what happens. You might see fit and healthy people who stop training. Eventually, they're not going to be fit and healthy. You have to always maintain or keep doing the work to grow. And obviously, when you're putting in the effort, you learn perspectives, you hit obstacles, you hit challenges. So think about this, guys. In my opinion, the best time to reach out for help is when it's becoming a real problem. And you get to decide on the timeline of that. Depending on how quickly you want to improve things, like for me in business, I would consider a problem something that costs me 8 hours. That for me is becoming a fucking problem, because you don't get time back. With health, generally I'll give myself a week to 10 days because I know a lot about that, and I know how to really have my body and understand injuries, etc., because I've spent so much of my life in that field. So I might allow myself 10 days to work through a problem, or try and educate myself around things. But depending on what I'm the most uneducated in and what's probably the main priority at that point in time, that's when I'm like, right, this is probably now starting to really piss me off. So I need to have the breakthrough that I'm looking for. I need support. I need to ask questions and ask for help. So that's what I would do, gents. And that's just come off the back of a conversation with one of my coaching clients today. So obviously for him, it was more about, just like knowing when to reach out for help, and making sure that if you do have a mentor, if you do have support, lean on them. And if you aren't in a position to do so, gents, we got the Strong Men of Value program, which is less than a coffee a day. But we also have the free Facebook group. You can jump in, you can post questions. So my throat's croaky because my mouth is really dry and it's bloody cold. So that we've definitely got something to fit all. But once again, as I mentioned, it falls back on you to take ownership, to ask the questions, to put your hand up, or to Google stuff. Because if you're not doing that, how do you expect anyone else to fucking know? Right? So all of these challenges that you're going to face, where you get to ask for help, you get the opportunity to ask for help, even just scroll through more podcasts. We're very fortunate to have those opportunities. And every time you do have a breakthrough and that experience that little bit of growth, you're going to be able to then pass that on to other people. I hope you found that helpful, gents. Once again, if you want to look into more coaching, just slide me a message on the Facebook page or the Instagram page. Otherwise, you can head over to the website to find more about the Strong Men of Value program. I don't have anything on one-on-one just because I like to keep that limited, but obviously this is probably the first time in a while I've spoken about that, because I do now have 2 spaces available. So if you want to find out about working with me, do that. Otherwise, thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, hit like, share this episode with some mates that you know are going to get some value from it, and hit the bloody subscribe button so you don't miss another episode. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. I look forward to hearing feedback and connecting with you guys in the future. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.